welcome back to Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. If you've just joined us, we're here with Pam Refoy, who's the author of The Fairies of Faith and Hope. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Mirella.
Now, in your books, thank you. In your book, you mention lots about tolerance, forgiveness, love, and peace. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're trying to say?
Well, this is primarily in the fairy songs. You know, they sing this as a way of teaching the girls through their lives. I guess it's about really, if you can bring it onto your own personal level, as I think we all know, like by bringing it onto your personal level in your daily life, it's like planting a seed, I guess, and the seed will grow and spread. It doesn't just affect us in that way. If we can practice, you know, love and forgiveness within our own lives, it sort of spreads. I guess it's catching. It's almost like catching like other things if we can do this.
Yeah.
And it will grow and it will spread. And eventually, of course, we get to the point where if everyone practice love and everyone practice forgiveness in our lives and the will for peace, well, we would have that beautiful utopia of world peace, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But in the end, it all actually starts with us, doesn't it? And that's why I have, with us individually, as an individual, that's why I have put that primarily into the songs, that sort of theme.
It's an interesting point, because you can often hear people say, there's not enough nice people in the world, there's not enough this, there's all these bad things. And then when you say it starts with us, so it starts with me being the nice person, being the peaceful person, the forgiving person, and then, well, actually also if you see other people live that, it helps you as well.
Yeah, I think it does tend to rub off on you when you're with people and when you are in that way. Because apart from anything else, forgiveness is a very cleansing thing for yourself, because if you hold resentment or you hold anger about someone, the only person that you're actually hurting is yourself. You're making yourself very often quite ill through it, because you get very negative and very, you know, angry. It's a very negative emotion. And if you can release that and let it go, and sometimes it's not that easy, we know that. It can be very, very difficult. But if you can find yourself to do that, it's actually a beautiful cleansing of yourself. You can't have peace in your heart until you've let go of all anger and bitterness.
That's true. And sometimes you have to actually force yourself to make the effort, but once you've done it, you're free of it. And it's just that initial part where you've just got to let go of whatever you were thinking that's not positive.
Yeah. Well, that's right. I think that's right. And eventually it becomes, it's like if you're trying to give up a habit like smoking. It's hard to start with, but once you get along the way, it becomes automatic to be that way, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, like
just developing a new habit.
Developing a new habit. And eventually it's a good word. Eventually, it becomes just an integral part of you, where it becomes easier to do that. Yes.
Yeah. And I think it's good, because then you grow within. You grow as a responsible, independent human being. Like you become more fully human.
Oh, that's right. Well, more fully divine. That's what we really are. We're divine beings. There is a human side of us, and they say, the old saying is, to err is human, to forgive divine. So as human beings, we will make mistakes. We will err. But when we allow that beautiful love, because to me forgiveness is part of divine love, it's part of loving, and when we allow that into our heart, we're allowing the divine to come through within us and to come into our lives. Yes.
And I guess some people's fear of being forgiving is being taken advantage of. That's what maybe stops some people. What would you say to them?
Well, I think when it's like that, it doesn't mean, because you forgive people, it doesn't mean you allow someone to walk on you and use you as a doormat. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean you have to be in that situation. You may have to back away. But within your heart, you forgive, you let go, and you don't try and cause trouble, you don't try and hit back. That's true forgiveness, just letting it go. Doesn't mean you have to stay in the situation. But it means you go with joy and love in your heart for that person, but you maybe have to walk away sometimes. Yes.
Beautiful. And can you tell us a little bit about your own family background?
Well, within that, the reason I've sort of grown up with this perhaps all my life, I've sort of adopted those ways and thoughts, because my parents were both very much that way. My father was born and bred a Catholic, and my mother a Protestant, or Church of England. And in those days, the Catholics, they were taught, they didn't go to Sunday school, you know, God's going to punish you and this. And my dad, you know, he didn't like this, so he said, no, this isn't for me. So he sort of walked away. Though he believed in it a lot, he still walked away. And he always said, and he taught me when I was young, because I'd ask him, well, what is God, you know? And he'd say, if there is a God, and he thought there was, God would be a God of love. God would be a God who loved us all equally, and who, you know, took us, how shall I say, regardless of our race, religion, creed, colour, God would love us equally. He would have no favourites. He used to say, anyone that could fashion this beautiful earth, the stars, the moon, the sun, would be above all that. That's us, he said, the human side. But God is love and forgiveness, and they saw forgiveness as very much a part of love, yeah.
Wow. Do you ever get overwhelmed with joy and wonder of the thought that there is a God and that he really loves you and that everything is beautiful and can work out for you the way you would love it too?
Yes, I get overwhelmed with the thought of God in my life and in all our lives, and God is there. It's up to us, like was in that poem, it's there. God's love fills our being. It's there for the seeing. It's in all of us. It's for us to open that door and let it through. And yes, I do get over, you know, really overawed with the thought of this beautiful love of God. But it's not always necessarily going to work out the way I want it to. That's something we must stress. It's the way God wants it to for us. It is a greater purpose.
And what is your vision for your future and for the world?
My vision for the world, for the future, well, I think peace. Within myself, to find that beautiful peace and joy within myself, and I wish that for everyone, everywhere, and for the whole world. And we can do it. We can do it. We can make that effort, each and every one of us, every day, to get there.
And what sort of things can we do to make that happen?
Well, just starting in our lives by basically forgiving. All wars are caused by people not forgiving, for hating and anger and resentment. If they could allow that to go, there wouldn't be a need for war. You know, sometimes you have to defend yourself, but the aggressor I'm talking about here, the aggressor is because they so wrongly believe that they've got to handle it this way. There's always dialogue.
Yeah, there is always the option. There's always another door open.
Yes, rather than the horrors.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on the program, Pam.
Thank you.
You've been watching Visions. I'm Mirella Rich. Our guest was Pam Refoy. We'll see you again soon.